So hi guys, here I am with Stilks, backed by public demands. Yeah, are you the hardest doorman?
No, let's put this to bed, Liam.
Yeah.
I'm not the hardest doorman in the country, but I am one of the best. I understand the job and I'll do it well. And that's why everyone wants me, because I'm a fair doorman.
You're not the hardest. Who do you think is?
Well, I consider a fella called Nick Netley. Now, a lot of you out there are going to go, who the f*** is Nick Netley? Well, I'm going to tell you who Nick Netley is. I worked with him and I was lucky enough to be his best man. The man has passed away now, but I consider him to be the best doorman, or the hardest doorman in the country at the time. I was there at the Premier Games when he offered out Jeff Capes, and Jeff Capes didn't want to know.
What was the kind of craziest thing that you saw him do?
Right, I'm on the door at the Station Hotel in Welling, and I'm standing next to him, and this fella comes in. He must have weighed about 14 stone, 5'11". He comes in and he says to me, "Have you got any work?" And I said, "What kind of work?" "Bar work." He goes, "No, door work." I said, "No, mate, no, me and Nick here is enough." He goes, "Yeah, but I do karate." So I said, "Look, you're not listening." So with that, Nick's grabbed him by the throat, grabbed him by the nuts, and he's lifted him in the air, and he's shaking him, and he throws him to the floor, and he goes, "And I can do that." The bloke gets up, brushes himself off, and says there was no need for that, and walks out. You're all out there going, "Oh, my mate's harder than him, my mate's harder than this fella." Listen, I'm going to tell you who Nick is, because I know you haven't heard of him. Right, Nick Netley, if you look in the governor's book, Lenny McLean, he is the fella that brings Lenny out to his fights. So for Lenny McLean to pick Nick to look after him, he's got to be some force, right? I'm going to tell you what kind of a man he was. He was 6'4". He weighed 19 stone. He done powerlifting, he done Olympic lifting, he threw the javel, he done the shot put, he won London's Strongest Man, he can run the 100 metres in 11.6 seconds, he played American football for Streatham Olympians, he went to America, they wanted him to play American football out there. That's who he was. Gypsy Joe Bradshaw, Lenny McLean was fighting him at the Arrogant Suite in Eltham. Now, Nick was the security and the main man looking after Lenny. Now, Lenny needed someone there who is very capable, like himself, to look after himself, because there was going to be a lot of gypsies there. So the fight went on. Now, Gypsy Joe Bradshaw headbutts Lenny McLean. Lenny McLean can't believe it. So Lenny steams into him and starts stamping on his head. Reg Parker says, "What are we going to do?" Nick says, "Leave it to me," because not a lot of people know this. It was Nick Netley that climbs into the ring and he rugby tackles Lenny McLean into the corner, holds him and says, "Lenny, calm down." And Lenny calmed down because Nick was a big fella. There was no one else that could have calmed him down or pushed him into the corner of that ring. If it wasn't for Nick that night, I reckon he would have killed that Gypsy Joe.
Did you know Lenny at all?
I met him a few times. He was very hard to hold conversation with. But again, Nick was very similar. He didn't have a lot to say. He had to be interested in the conversation for him to talk to you. Although I was his best man.
Is he still with us?
No, he's not with us. He died. I'm going to tell you what happened. Yeah. This is the story Jenny told me, his wife. He got up one morning and he said, "Jen, today I'm going to die." So Jenny goes, "Don't be stupid, Nick." He goes, "Yep, today I'm going to die. Make me a cup of tea, phone an ambulance." So she makes him a cup of tea, brings it over to him. There's a knock on the door. Jen starts to walk towards the door to open it. Nick goes, "Jen, I love you, and tell Jessica, his daughter, I love her too." She goes, "1 minute, Nick, just open the door." She goes to the door, she opens it, she comes back, and Nick's dead.
But had he not been well?
No, he was fine. The post-mortem said after that he had died of thrombosis. But yeah, he just got up one morning and he knew today was the day. I'm mentioning him now, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot, after people watching this podcast, there's going to be a lot of people go, yeah, I remember Nick. He was a giant of a man.
Did you think sort of Lenny McLean was all that he was meant to be?
Oh, he was frightening. You couldn't hold a conversation with him. You couldn't have a night out with him without watching yourself. You said your few words to him, like, all right, Len, are we working together tonight? And that would be it. That was it with Lenny.
Did you prefer Roy Shaw out of the two?
I loved Roy. Me and Roy had some lovely nights out together. We used to meet at Joey Pile's do's, and we used to have conversations, and he was a lovely guy.
Yeah, I mean those fight nights down in Streatham were fantastic, weren't they?
Oh, they were good nights, especially at the top table with Tony Lambriano and
Charlie Breaker was up there, wasn't he?
Charlie Breaker, Roy Shaw, yeah. Joey Pile,
and your mate Tony Lambriano.
Well, Tony Lambriano would always go, Stilks, come and join us. And I'd go, no, it's all right, Tony. And he'd go, no, you're one of the Greek boys. You got to sit here with me.
So you kind of came to fame through Hard Bastards, didn't you? Which was Kate Kray's thing. How did that all happen?
Right. I've got a very, very, very good friend, a man that I won't mention his name, but I treated him like a son, and he treated me like a father. And I used to give him advice, and he followed me everywhere, and we had some great times growing up. I'm about 15 years older than him. Anyway, one night, he's out on his own. He's enjoying himself in a club, and someone pinches this girl's bum. So my mate is old school. He went up to him and said, "Oi, you, go and apologise to that girl." And this fella goes, "And if I don't," he goes, "I'll punch your face in." So he drags him over and he apologises to this woman. The woman says, "Thank you very much for that. My name's Kate Kray." And he goes, "Oh, well, I don't know who you are, but yeah, I'll have a drink with you and say goodbye." She goes, "Well, I'm doing a book at the moment and it's going to be called Hard Bastards. Would you like to be in it?" He goes, no, that's not for me. She says, "Do you know anyone that is good enough to be in this book?" She goes, "Yep, I've got a man, his name's Stilks." She asked me if I wanted to be in this book, Hard Bastards, and I said, "What's in it for me?" And she said, "Well, if you can get me some people I can interview, I'll get you a book deal and maybe a show on telly." So I thought to myself, listen, it ain't a bad thing. I'm not an armed robber, I'm not a gangster, I'm a doorman. I'm not going to grass anyone up. I said, "Go on then, I'll do it." She said, like, "What kind of people can you introduce me to?" So I said, "Well, I've got a friend called Cass, Tony Lee, John McGuinness, Reg Parker, Tony Lambriano, and they're just a few of the people that I got her to interview." She was a woman of her word. She got me a book deal, which done really well. It came out in hardback and paperback 3 times. So I've done all right from it. I think there was 12 episodes, and I got the second highest viewing to Roy Shaw. So
it's not bad, is it?
So I must be doing something right. The programme's been aired. It's done really well. Everyone knows me. It's like being a household name. Loved it. Now, I'm a member at the gym now at David Lloyd's. So I go up to the gym to train, and this fella, Peter Robinson, he comes over to me and he goes, "Stilks, how did you get that part in Hard Bastards? I'm better looking than you." I just couldn't believe what he said. So I stood back, thought about it, and got on with me training. And as time went on, this played on my mind. I'm thinking, I'm sure he was taking the piss out of me. So this was about a month before Christmas. So I thought, right, I know what I do to make myself feel better. I'll make it my New Year's resolution. If I see him, I'll have it out with him. And you ain't gonna believe my luck. New Year's Day, I'll walk into David Lloyd's, walk upstairs, and who's standing in front of me? Peter Robinson. So I walk straight up to him, bang! Hits him straight in the face, goes down on his knee. He gets straight up. He throws a right hand, catches me on the forearm, throws a left hook, catches me on the chin. I felt the bones in my toes shake. The bones in my toes shake. I thought it was just Mickey Mouse stuff. With that, my legs go wobbly. I think, fuck, I'm in trouble here. I throw a right hook over, just throw it just madly, hoping it catches him. It catches him. He goes down, and I think to myself, I'm going to make sure he don't get up. I kick him in the head so hard as if I was trying to do a conversion at Twickenham. He flips round onto his back. I step back and I'm now looking for his training partner. I'm thinking, right, he's gonna get it. But for God, he's running to the corner of the gym, shaking. There's now blood everywhere. I'm now thinking, what shall I do? There's people screaming, running downstairs. And I'm thinking, right, let's pretend I'm training. So I walk over to the bench, start loading my weights. The manager comes up. He says, what's going on here? I said, what? He's gone, what's going on? So Peter Robinson says, nothing. You got to remember, a lot of you are going to say, well, there was no need to kick him in the head. But listen, when I'm having a street fight, there's not 3 judges. There's not a bellman. There's not a referee. There's not a doctor on the side. I'm now fighting for my life. So is he. When we're in a street fight, there's no rules. You're actually fighting to the death. That's the way I see it. You know, there's no one there to say hold up. There's no one there to say stop. There's no doctor to say that cut looks too bad. If anything, his mate may even be kicking you while you're fighting him. So kicking him in the head is no problem. The reason I'm doing these short podcasts, I'm not very good at speaking and especially talking about myself. But what my eventual goal is I would like someone to pick up and do a life story of my life.
Like a film, like a Cas film.
Like a Cas film, yes. I've had some interest, but they've told me to go away, get some podcasts done, and let's see what kind of support you get, which I'm doing. And down to you, Liam, I'm getting some good support. And let's see, after if I do half a dozen and I get a cut of 100,000 views, maybe I can go back to Netflix and say, there you are.
We're going to have you back again with some more stories. Is it all right that people ask you questions online that you might want to answer?
Not a problem. So we'll have a go.
They can put a question down below in the comments, and then you might want to address it next time.
Not a problem. We'll give it a go.